decided to subscribe after listening to my last whisper that I put up, the response to gentle whispering. I just wanted to make sure that I let y'all know, in case it would affect your choice to do so, that I don't typically do that type of a whisper. The one that I'm going to do today is my normal mode. But in case that would impact your decision to be subscribed, I wanted to be upfront and make sure that that was understood to not be my normal topic. But I have actually contemplated doing a few different whispering types, like maybe beginning to incorporate an extra video each month that would not be of the type that I normally do, but I haven't completely made a final decision on that. So anyway, all of that having been said, I am going to go ahead and begin reading. This should, in theory, be the last installment of the King Arthur set. And that's assuming that it comes out okay. Like I said, I'm trying out something new. I really hope it does come out okay, because it took me a while to get in the proper mood to read, and I'd really prefer not to have to get myself back into that mood to reread something. I like moving forward, but we'll see what happens, and we'll just take it from there. But today we're going to begin with the story for Lancelot and Guenevere. Second. Lancelot had long been a faithful member of the Fellowship of the Round Table. For many years his brave deeds and his never-failing chivalry had been a shining example to the other knights, and it had in no way detracted from his deep loyalty to Arthur that, whatever Lancelot did, he did it to honor Queen Guenevere. Indeed, Arthur was proud that his wife inspired such devotion, and never thought to be jealous. But now Lancelot's keen desire to labor for the beliefs of the Round Table was dulled by his failure in the search for the Holy Grail, and the message Sir Bors carried from his son had pained him greatly. His love for Guenevere was now his only comfort. Thus it passed on from Candlemas through Easter until the month of May was come, when every loving heart begins to blossom and bear fruit. For just as shrubs and trees begin to flower in May, likewise every heart aspires to flower with love. All of you who are truly lovers should revere the month of May, just as Queen Guenevere and Sir Lancelot did, for there never were truer lovers. It happened then, when Arthur and Guenevere were in London during the month of May, that Queen Guenevere summoned her had loved Queen Guenevere for several years, would have carried her off, had he not greatly feared Sir Lancelot, the Queen's protector. But now, upon this fine May morning, he saw the Queen out riding without any man-at-arms, save 10 green-clad noble knights. So he assembled 100 archers to shoot down the unarmed squires and yeomen, and rode with 20 men at arms to seize the Queen. All the while the Queen and her knights rode deep into the woods, quite unsuspecting, stopping along the way to garland themselves and their horses with herbs, mosses, and flowers, redolent with woodland green. Then, suddenly, they found themselves surrounded by Sir Meliagant's armed men. "I declare to you, madam," Sir Meliagant cried, "that I have loved you for many a year, but never until now have I found an opportunity to fulfill my desire." The 10 Queen's knights, their squires and yeomen, quickly formed a circle about the Queen Guenevere, but the numbers were uneven, and they were soon left groaning on the ground, cut down by flying arrows and swords. When the Queen saw her knights thus maltreated, she cried out in sorrow, "Do not slay my noble knights, Sir Meliagant. I shall go with you if you spare the lives of those still living. If not, you had better kill me too, for I would not go with you alive." The traitor knight, Sir Meliagant, then called off the assault and had the wounded put on horseback, some sitting, some slung sideways, so that it was shameful to see their pain. As quickly as he could, Sir Meliagant had them all taken with the Queen to his castle, for he feared that news would reach Sir Lancelot of his misdeed. As the procession made its way towards Meliagant's castle, the Queen, unnoticed, called a young lad to her, who was less sorely wounded than the rest, and charged him as follows: "Bear my ring to Sir Lancelot of the Lake, and give him the tidings. Beg him, as he loves me, to rescue us forthwith. Seize your chance to escape, and ride like the wind." Choosing his moment well, the lad abruptly spurred on his horse, and galloped away as best he could, with a hail of arrows after him. But he got safely away, and bore the news to Westminster, delivering the Queen's ring and her message to Sir Lancelot. The bold Sir Lancelot set off apace on his white horse, forded the Thames at Lambeth, and in no time at all reached the place where the 10 noble knights had fought Sir Meliagant. Then, following their tracks until he came to a linden wood, he fell into an ambush of 30 archers, who shot his horse, so forcing him to take cover in ditch and hedge. Thus he was forced to go on by foot, weighed down by his shield and armor, which he dared not abandon for fear of attack. After making a wide detour, he came upon a wood cart and 2 carters fetching logs. "Carter," said Sir Lancelot to the first man, "permit me to ride these 2 miles to the castle in your cart." "No, I won't," the man replied. "I am fetching wood for my lord Sir Meliagant, and do not aid his enemies." At that Sir Lancelot grew angry, and struck the man so hard he fell to the ground. At once his companion shouted out, "Fair lord, spare my life, and I'll take you where you will." And the second carter drove Sir Lancelot at a gallop towards the castle, and within half an hour had passed through the gates. Within the castle, one of Guenevere's ladies, standing at a window, cried out, "Look, madam, an armed knight comes riding in a wood cart. He must be riding to his hanging to be travelling thus." As Queen Guenevere looked out, she recognized at once the shield of Sir Lancelot of the Lake, and turning to her maid, she rebuked her, "Think not that because a man rides in a wood cart he is destined for a shameful death. There comes the most noble knight in all the world to rescue us." By then Sir Lancelot had stepped down from the cart and cried out loudly, so that the castle rang with his fury, "Where are you, false traitor Meliagant? Come forth, you treacherous knight, and all your fellowship with you. It is I, castle tonight, and be free to return to Westminster tomorrow." "Peace is even better than war," said Queen Guenevere. "Therefore I shall order Sir Lancelot not to cause more bloodshed." Thereupon the queen went forth to greet Sir Lancelot, took him by a hand, and commanded him to set aside his arms. "I thank you most heartily for coming," she said, "but now you must enter peaceably, for the knight repents his misadventure and wishes to atone." Sir Lancelot was loath to disobey the queen, so he reluctantly agreed to spare Sir Meleagant, and gained a promise from her in return that he could come that night to her window. So it passed on to supper time, and every man and woman from King Arthur's court was treated most graciously. They entered, given soft salves upon their wounds, and all provided with good food and wine to fit their needs. When the company was tired, they all retired to fine chambers. As soon as he thought all the castle was asleep, Sir Lancelot crept into the garden, where he had earlier seen a ladder. Taking it now beneath his arm, he carried it through the garden and set it against Queen Guenevere's window, where she was already waiting to talk with him. The window being barred with iron, they conversed for some time through the grille, until Sir Lancelot told her how much he wished that he could embrace her. "I would as well as you," the queen replied, "but the way is barred." "Would you wish with all your heart that I were with you, madam?" asked Sir Lancelot in hope. "Yes, truly," said the queen. "Then I shall prove the power of my love for you," he whispered. So saying, he set his hands upon the iron bars, and pulled so hard he tore them clean out of the stone walls. So fierce was his passion that one of the bars cut his hand through to the bone, and he did not notice. Springing through the window into the queen's room, he took her in his arms. Such was their emotion that neither noticed how the blood from Lancelot's hand stained the queen's dress. Suddenly a knock on the door made them leap guiltily apart. Lancelot hastily took his leave, departing the way he'd come. Once back in his own chamber, he dressed his hand and staunched the blood, disguising the wound inside a glove. Meanwhile, trembling, the queen opened her chamber door to find one of the castle maids, who had seen her light burning, was anxious to know if the queen required any service. "Jesus mercy, what ails you, madam?" the maid exclaimed when she saw Guenevere. "Your dress is soaked in blood, and your body is shaking." Guenevere dismissed the girl with hasty excuses, and the maid, puzzled, informed her master, Sir Meleagant, of the queen's strange behavior. He at once guessed that Guenevere had been false to the king with one of her wounded knights. Going to the queen's chamber, he confronted her with his suspicions, and warned, "I shall inform King Arthur of your shame. It's clear that a wounded knight has this night embraced you, and that you are false, traitress to your king." Of course, Sir Meleagant was delighted to have the queen at such a disadvantage, for he thought by that to force her to conceal his own treason from the king. But when Sir Lancelot heard the charge, he was both ashamed and angry, and forthwith challenged the false knight to a joust. "Here, sir, is my glove, then," said Sir Meleagant, throwing down his gauntlet. "I say the queen is traitress to my lord, King Arthur, since one of the wounded knights is her lover. And I receive your glove," Sir Lancelot said. 8 days from now we shall do battle for the queen's honor, in the jousting field by Westminster." "Now let us breakfast in peace," said Sir Meleagant, "as honorable knights should, while the queen rides with her party to Westminster." When the queen, her knights, and ladies had departed, the cunning Sir Meleagant led Sir Lancelot along a passage to the dining room, where he had prepared a trap, so that as Sir Lancelot walked along, he stepped on a trap door that opened up beneath him, and he dropped full 10 feet into a cave filled with straw, and there he remained a captive. In the meantime, the wicked knight concealed Sir Lancelot's horse, so that everyone would think that Lancelot had left his castle. When Sir Lancelot did not return to court, the rumor had it that he had ridden off on more adventures, as he was ofttimes wont to do. "Do not worry," King Arthur said. "He always keeps his word, and will be back in time for the appointed joust." Arthur was bitterly angry with Meleagant, and never believed for a moment his accusation could be true. Meanwhile, Sir Lancelot was lying in great anguish within the cave. Each day, at dawn and evening, a maiden came to bring him food and drink. On the 5th night she said, "Dear Lancelot, if you promise me your love, I shall gladly set you free at once. If not, you must remain, and you will not be able to defend Queen Guenevere's honor on the field at Westminster." "I would cause her more dishonor," he replied, "if I were to buy my liberty by such false promises. My love belongs to none but Queen Guenevere, and always will." 2 more days and nights passed by. On the morning of the jousting, the damsel repeated her refrain, but this time said, "Sir Lancelot, I deem your heart is made of stone, but if you will give me just one kiss, I consent to free you, and I will give you your armor and the best horse in the master's stable." "As for one kiss," he said, "I may give you that without disgrace." When he had kissed her, she straightway set him free, brought his armor, and led him to the stable, where stood attendants and coursers, bidding him to choose the best. He chose a strong white steed, mounted up and lance in hand. He bade farewell to the sad, lamenting maiden. "Dear lady," he said, "for this good deed I shall one day do you service, if it be within my power." Meanwhile, as Sir Lancelot galloped as fast as he might towards the rendezvous, Sir Meleagant stood alone upon the field at Westminster, smiling and boasting that Sir Lancelot was too cowardly to meet him. As the time approached, he called upon King Arthur to declare him the bravest knight in Lochglen, or else bring forth Sir Lancelot to the lake. The king and all the court stood silent and still, perplexed at Lancelot's absence. As the hour arrived, King Arthur then stepped forward to declare Sir Meleagant victor, but just at that moment the heralds raised a cry that Sir Lancelot was coming, and within a short while he came in sight, driving his horse along at breakneck speed until he reached King Arthur, and there, breathless, he told the king of how Sir Meleagant had acted treacherously from first to last, and when they all learned the knight's treason, there was no more to say. The battle commenced. Both knights set their lance and shield, and rode forward to meet the other. They met with such force that both men were knocked flying to the ground, but at once they were on their feet and striking at each other with their heavy swords. Such was their fury that both shields were soon broken, and both helmets smashed. Bright blood stained their skin, and ran upon the ground. Finally, Sir Lancelot, seeing his opponent weakening, redoubled his efforts, and with one almighty blow forced Meleagant to his knees. Meleagant cried out for all to hear, "Most noble knight, Sir Lancelot, I yield to you. I require you as a knight of the Round Table to spare my life and show me mercy." Sir Lancelot was loath to break his knightly oath and deny Meleagant mercy, yet he was determined to avenge the queen's honor to the death. Thus he bade Meleagant rise and continue the battle as before. But Sir Meleagant was afraid and cowered on the ground. Sir Lancelot said, "You may rearm yourself, while I shall fight bareheaded with one hand tied behind me." At once the cowardly knight rose to his feet, donned new armor and shield and helmet, and waited while Sir Lancelot had one hand bound behind him. There was many a knight and lady who frowned in grim dismay at this proceeding. Then Sir Meleagant came rushing at Sir Lancelot, his sword held high, poised to strike at Lancelot's fair, unprotected head. As he brought his new sword crashing down, Sir Lancelot moved deftly aside, averted the blow with his own sword, then with horse gave the knight such a buffeting on the helmet that it carved his head in two. There was little left to do but drag the body from the field and bury it. King Arthur gave instructions that a stone be put upon the grave, saying that there was buried a false traitor who had been justly punished. Thus the Queen's honor was avenged. During the celebrations that followed Lancelot's victory, a badly wounded knight from Hungary, Sir Uri of the Mount, was carried into the court and told his story. He had evidently fought with the Earl of Spain's son and slain him some 7 years before, but had received 7 wounds himself, 3 about the head, 3 upon his body, and 1 on his left arm. The Earl's mother, being a sorceress, had put a spell upon him, so that his wounds would not heal till the bravest knight in the world would lay hands on them. "I have passed through all the lands of Christendom," he said. "This is the last." "You are right welcome, sir," said King Arthur. "If ever any Christian man may heal you, surely he will be in my court, for there are none nobler in all the world. Though not presuming that I am worthy to succeed, I shall lay hands upon you first. Should I fail, then my example will encourage other good men to follow." But when Arthur touched him softly, some of Sir Uri's wounds renewed their bleeding, and when the king commanded all the noble knights that were present to try to cure him, none could do so. Sir Uri's wounds bled even more freely than before. There was one knight who held back, Sir Lancelot, and as the king called him forward to take his turn, he objected. "Heaven forbid that I should think myself superior to all the knights who failed," he explained. "I would not choose to try." "You shall not have to choose," said Arthur, "since I command you to do as we all have done." Then all the knights begged Lancelot to lay his hands upon the man, and Sir Uri himself sat up weakly and beseeched him, saying, "Courteous knight, I beseech you in the name of God to heal my wounds. Even as you approach, my pain is less." "Oh, my fair lord," said Lancelot, "God knows I want to help you, and I shall, but it will be my final deed before this fair realm passes over." It was then that King Arthur recalled the words of the Lady Mistress of the Isle of Avalon, when Lancelot had healed the knight on his first day at Camelot, that Lancelot would do just one more such deed before the passing of glory that was the fellowship of the Round Table. Then Sir Lancelot knelt before the wounded man, and put his hands upon Sir Uri's head, pressing the 3 wounds softly, and making them bleed a little. In an instant the wounds healed up, as if they had never been opened these 7 years past. In like manner he passed his hands over the 3 wounds on the body, and the 1 wound on the arm. Each of them was whole at once. As Sir Uri gave grateful thanks, and all the noble knights knelt down in reverence, Sir Lancelot wept bitterly, like a child who has just been beaten. He knew now the days of Logres were numbered. It was not long after that 2 ill-meaning knights at court, Sir Agravaine and Sir Mordred, began to spread rumors about the love between Sir Lancelot and Queen Guenevere. One day, in the hearing of King Arthur, Sir Agravaine spoke boldly to his fellow knights. "Are we not ashamed to see how Sir Lancelot betrays King Arthur with Queen Guenevere? It is time that the king knew and meted out just punishment to the traitor." King Arthur was hurt and astonished at the words. "If what you say is true," he said, "then Sir Lancelot is indeed a traitor, and must be punished according to the law. But I would not accuse or punish him without firm proof, for all of you know he is the best knight among us, and I love him dearly." "My lord," said Agravaine, "you shall ride tomorrow to the hunt, and tell the queen you will not be home that night. Doubt not that Sir Lancelot will visit the queen. Thus Sir Mordred and myself with 12 fellow knights will catch him unawares, and bring him before you to confess." King Arthur was very reluctant to agree to this mean trick, but he thought it would clear Lancelot and quiet his enemies, As the first knight did so, Lancelot warded off his blow with the thick folds of his cloak, and hit the knight so hard on the head that he fell down dead upon the chamber floor. Then seizing the dead knight's sword, Lancelot flung open the door and rushed out, striking right and left so furiously that soon only Mordred remained alive, and he fled for his life. "I shall depart now, madam," cried Sir Lancelot to the queen. "It grieves me deeply to part with you, and know that King Arthur will now forever be my foe. But doubt not that if ever you are in danger, I shall come and rescue you." With that he kissed her and fled to the knight. In the meantime, Sir Mordred hurried with his dire news to King Arthur, and told all, exactly as it was, how 13 good knights had been slain, and only he survived. "Alas, I am deeply sorry," said the king, "that Sir Lancelot of all knights should betray me. Henceforth the noble fellowship of the Round Table will be broken forever, since many knights will take his part, and to my great sorrow the queen must come before the law." The law was such in those days that no matter who, of what estate or degree, was found guilty of treason, the only verdict could be death. Thus it was quickly ordained that the queen should be taken to the stake and burnt. On the morning that the dread sentence was due to be carried out, the queen was led forth from Castle Camelot, dressed only in a plain grey smock. She was bound to a stout stake, and had brushwood laid about her feet. A ring of sturdy knights surrounded her, Sir Gareth and Sir Gaheris, who were both brothers of Sir Gawain, Sir Griflet and Sir Tor, Sir Kay, and many others. Yet, just as the torch was being lit, a cry went up, and Sir Lancelot came riding madly towards the fire. Whoever stood in his way was killed outright, as he cut a swath with his sword through the circle of knights. Thus every man in the ring around the stake was killed, for none could withstand Sir Lancelot's fury. He slashed the ropes that bound Queen Guenevere, swept her up, and seated her on his horse behind him. Then off they rode to the lands of Gwynedd, where he had his castle, Joyous Gard. When the quarrel between Lancelot and Arthur was made known throughout Britain and beyond, there were many rulers who were glad, seeing a chance to expand their own power if Arthur's strong rule came to an end. Many kings sent strong knights to support Sir Lancelot, and they were joined even by some knights from King Arthur's court. The realm of Loggrave was rent by civil war. When Arthur's army was assembled, the king led them into Gwynedd to lay siege to the castle of Joyous Gard. But Sir Lancelot would not ride out to do battle with the king, so the siege continued for 15 weeks. Finally, about harvest time, Lancelot appeared on the castle ramparts and called down to King Arthur, "My lord, you cannot take this castle, since we are too well protected. If you continue this siege, you will bring nothing but dishonor upon us both." "Then come out and fight if you dare," shouted back King Arthur, "and I vow to meet you on the field in single combat." "God forbid that I should fight with the most noble king that ever lived, him who made me knight," Sir Lancelot declared. "I care nothing for your flattery," said the king. "You are now my mortal foe, and will remain such until I die. For many years you betrayed my trust by consorting with my wife. Now, traitor, you have stolen her away. You have killed good knights, noble men of my own blood, who can never be replaced. You have brought shame upon the realm of Loggrave." "My most noble lord and king," said Lancelot, "you may say that you will, but I shall not fight you. You say that I have slain good knights. I know well that I have done so, and I am truly sorry, but I was forced to defend myself to save my life. As for Queen Guenevere, she is a true lady, loyal to you as any lady has been to her husband. If any man say otherwise, I shall kill him. That I took her from you by force I cannot deny, but I did so because you would have burnt her at the stake on my account. Therefore, my good and gracious lord, let us make peace. Take back your queen, for she is both fair and true and good." King Arthur was moved by Lancelot's words, and might have listened to him had not Sir Gawain, still angry at his brother's death, fanned the flames of jealous anger, so the king declined the next day, Sir Lancelot appeared unarmed at the castle gates, leading the queen by the arm. Together they approached King Arthur and knelt down before him. The king stood silent as Lancelot made his last appeal. "My most noble king, I have brought you my lady, as right requires. Sire, you have listened to false tongues, eager to sow discord between us. There was a time, King Arthur, when you were greatly pleased when I did battle in honor of your queen, and I have oft times done you better service than any other knight in many diverse places. I have rescued you and my lord Sir Gawain and many other knights from a host of dangers, and was glad to fight for you in jousts and tournaments and battles." Sir Lancelot sighed deeply, and the tears rolled down his cheeks as he continued, "Alas, most noble Christian realm, whom I have loved above all others, I shall leave you now and make my home in Belln, far from these shores." Then turning to Guenevere in the hearing of the king and all the company, Sir Lancelot said, "Madam, now I shall depart from you and this noble fellowship forever. I beg you, pray for me and think well of me, and if false tongues ever bring you pain, please send me word and I shall defend your honor and deliver you from danger." Thereupon Sir Lancelot kissed the queen and took his leave, and there was neither king, nor duke, earl, nor knight, maid, nor gentlewoman who did not weep at his going. Thus departed Sir Lancelot from King Arthur's court forever. The death of King Arthur. Soon after the departure of Sir Lancelot from Britain, King Arthur had to lead his army into France, leaving his nephew Mordred to rule while he was gone. But Mordred was an evil and ambitious man, and while King Arthur was overseas, he forged a letter reporting Arthur's death in battle. Thereupon he summoned all the lords together and made them choose him king. He was crowned in Canterbury, and then withdrew to Camelot, where he announced his intention of taking Guenevere for his queen. But Guenevere managed to escape to London, hiding there in the tower which Mordred could not capture, no matter how hard he tried. "I would rather kill myself than be married to you," she told him. Then came word that King Arthur was coming home with a great army to be avenged upon Sir Mordred. In the meantime, Mordred too had gathered a vast host about him. Although Arthur had been a good and just king, bringing peace and order, many now quickly forgot his virtues. Mordred spread evil rumors, claiming Arthur brought war and strife, while he, Mordred, would bring peace and plenty to the realm. How fickle people are, believing false tongues so readily, rather than their own eyes and minds. He who was the noblest king of all, the lord of the greatest fellowship of knights to whom all England owed her glory, was now so easily cast out. No sooner had Arthur been away for several months than many turned to Mordred and hailed him king, pledging him support. So, when he made for Dover to meet King Arthur, he did not lack for fighting men. As Arthur arrived with his great flotilla of ships and galleys, there was Sir Mordred's army waiting for him on the shore, and even before Arthur could step on dry land, Mordred launched great boats and small, full of men-at-arms. There was much slaughter of gentle knights on both sides, but King Arthur was so brave and daring that no host of knights could stop him landing, and he gained the shore at last, with most of his courageous knights putting Sir Mordred and his men to flight. When the battle was done, King Arthur let folk bury their dead. It was then that noble Sir Gawain was found lying on the shore, more dead than alive, an arrow shaft between his ribs. How King Arthur wept as he held him in his arms. "O Sir Gawain, my sister's son," King Arthur cried, "here now you lie, my most faithful Sir Lancelot been with us this unhappy war, would not have been, for Mordred would not have dared take up arms against him. I pray you, dear uncle, give me pen and ink that I may write a last note to Sir Lancelot. When all was ready, Gawain sat up weakly and wrote these words: To Sir Lancelot, flower of all noble knights, I, Sir Gawain, sister's son unto the noble Arthur, send you my dying words. I beseech you to turn again to this fair realm, and save our noble king who made you knight, for Arthur is betrayed by that false traitor Mordred, he who had himself crowned king, and would even have wed Queen Guenevere had she not taken refuge in the Tower of London. Forgive me, dear Lancelot, for my part in your exile, as I forgive you the wrongs that you have caused. Accept these words, for they are written with my heart's warm blood. I beg you to offer up a prayer for my soul. Farewell forever, Gawain. As he finished, Sir Gawain and King Arthur wept together. Then, at the hour of noon, Sir Gawain yielded up his soul. He was buried at a chapel within Dover Castle. At the news of King Arthur's victory over Mordred, many men flocked to his standard. Sir Mordred's host mainly came from Kent, Sussex, Surrey, Essex, Suffolk, and Norfolk. There were many who joined him out of duty to Sir Lancelot. King Arthur, meanwhile, drew much of his support from the southwest, beyond Salisbury, and it was there to the west of Salisbury the last decisive battle between the two armies was to be fought upon the Monday after Trinity. King Arthur could hardly wait to take revenge upon his treacherous foe. As the eve of battle came, Arthur had the strangest dream. Sir Gawain appeared before him in a vision and said, I come to warn you of chill death approaching. If you fight tomorrow against Sir Mordred as you have agreed, doubt not that you will die with the best part of your people on both sides. Then the realm of Logray will fall. But that can be averted. Make a truce for 1 month hence. By then Sir Lancelot will be here with his knights to join you and slay Sir Mordred. Thus our fair realm can be preserved. And Sir Gawain vanished just as suddenly as he had come. Upon waking, King Arthur straightway called Sir Lucan and Sir Belvedere with 2 bishops. He told them of his dream and commanded them as follows: Make a treaty for 1 month with Sir Mordred. Offer him lands and trophies as you think fit. At all costs, we must sign the month-long treaty until Sir Lancelot arrives. Forthwith his envoys departed and came to Sir Mordred, encamped with an enormous host upon Salisbury Plain. For long they bargained, and at last Mordred consented to take Cornwall and Kent right away, and all of England after Arthur's death. The latter, he schemed, would not be long. To seal the truce, a meeting was arranged between Sir Mordred and King Arthur, midday between both armies. Thus, on the Monday after Trinity, 2 parties of 14 men rode forth from both armies to sign the treaty. Before departing, King Arthur had warned his men to start the battle should they see any sign of treachery on Mordred's part, and Sir Mordred did the same. If you see any man draw a sword, he said, come quickly and slay them all. I do not trust this treaty, and suspect my uncle is eager to take revenge on me. So they met at the appointed place and time, reached agreement presently, called for wine to toast the truce, and were about to return in peace when a tragic accident occurred. An adder crawled out of the heath bush and stung a nearby knight upon the foot. Naturally, without thinking of harm to others, the knight drew a sword and killed the snake. The moment both armies saw that sword drawn, they gave a shout, blew trumpets and horns, prepared to charge. As Arthur took to his horse to rejoin his army, he cried out bitterly, Alas, England will forever regret this unhappy day. And truly never was there seen a sadder or crueler battle in any Christian land. There was rushing and riding, thrusting and striking, and many a fatal wound was given, many a deadly stroke received. King Arthur was ever in the thick of the fighting, charging time and again into Sir Mordred's ranks, heedless of the danger to himself, and acting as nobly as ever a king in battle did. Despite his wounds, he did not flinch from inspiring his men by example. Thus the battle raged all day, no night giving ground till late upon the cold, bare earth. By dusk at least 100,000 men lay dead or dying upon the battlefield, and King Arthur wept in pity as he saw so many of his people slain. As he searched about him, he saw two only of his noble knights left alive, Sir Lucan and his brother Sir Belvedere, and they were sorely wounded. "O God," he cried, "where are all my gallant knights? Alas, that ever I should see this dreadful day! Now I know well the end is near. How I wish to God that I could find that traitor Sir Mordred, who has caused this carnage." Suddenly, as he scanned the field of battle, King Arthur espied Sir Mordred leaning on his sword amidst a pile of dead. "Give me my lance," said Arthur to Sir Lucan, "for yonder I see the traitor who has brought this woe upon us all." "Sire, let him be," said Lucan, "for he is more miserable alive than dead. Could the Lord remember well your last night's dream, and what the spirit of Sir Gawain told you? His great goodness God has so far kept you safe. Therefore, for his sake, let Mordred be. You won a famous victory, and we three remain alive, while Mordred stands alone. If you leave off now, this wicked day of destiny is safely past." For Arthur was blinded by fury at the slaughter of his knights. "Whether I die or not, I shall be revenged," he cried, "and I shall never have a better chance than now while he's alone." "Then God speed you well," said Belvedere. The king took his lance in both hands and ran towards Sir Mordred, crying, "Traitor, now has your death's day come." When Sir Mordred heard the shout, he ran at Arthur with his sword ready in his hand, but Arthur struck him beneath his shield and ran him through so that the lance came out a full yard the other side. The moment Mordred felt death's wound, he threw himself forward up to the hilt of King Arthur's lance, and as he fell, brought his sword down hard on Arthur's head, so that it pierced the king's helmet and his head beneath. Thereupon Mordred fell dead on the ground, and Arthur on him. At once Sir Lucan and Sir Belvedere ran to Arthur and raised him up, carrying him to a little chapel near a lake. No sooner had they gained shelter than more groans and shouts were heard coming from the battlefield, and as they looked on in horror, they saw scavengers come to rob the slain, and whoever was not completely dead the robbers killed. When the two knights saw that, they knew King Arthur was in peril should the robbers find him, so they prepared to take him to the nearest town. Sir Lucan took hold of Arthur's shoulders, Sir Belvedere his legs, and they began to carry him away. But they had hardly gone 3 paces when in the effort Sir Lucan's wound opened wide and his guts spilled out. In a moment the gallant knight was dead. "Alas," Arthur cried, "it is the saddest sight that such a noble duke should die for my sake. He is more in need of help than me. God have mercy on his soul." Meanwhile Sir Belvedere knelt beside his brother and wept. By and by King Arthur gently said to him, "Now leave this morning, for it is of no avail. My time passes fast. Take my good sword Excalibur to yonder water side, and cast it far into the lake. Then return and tell me Belvedere was greatly ashamed. He took up the sword and ran with it to the lakeside. There he swung it by the handle above his head, threw it as far out as he could, and as it was flying through the air, there came an arm and a hand out to the water to catch the sword by the hilt. 3 times that white-clad arm brandished the sword above the lake, and then vanished with it below the waves with scarcely a ripple. When Sir Belvedere came to the king again and told him what he'd seen, King Arthur thanked him and said, "Now help me from here, for I fear I have tarried over long." Taking the king upon his back, Belvedere carried him down to the lake, and as they reached the waterside, a black barge appeared out of the mist, bearing 3 queens wearing crowns. All began sobbing piteously when they saw King Arthur. "Place me in the barge, I pray you," said King Arthur to Belvedere. As he did so gently, the 3 queens received the king with great tenderness. "Oh, dear brother," they wept, "why did you tarry so long before you came here? Alas, the wound in your head has already caught much cold." As the barge moved slowly from the shore, Sir Belvedere cried out, "My lord Arthur, what shall become of me, and what of you?" "Comfort yourself," said the king, "and do as best you can. As for me, I go now into the Vale of Avalon to be healed of my grievous wound. Since you hear no more of me, pray for my soul, and bear the word to those knights left alive. I shall come again when Britain needs me." Slowly the barge moved out of sight into the mists, and Sir Belvedere could hear the ladies weeping so bitterly it broke one's heart to listen. When Queen Guenevere learned of the fate of King Arthur and all the noble knights, she left the Tower of London, 5 ladies with her, and went to Alsbury to a convent. There she donned black robes and became a nun, each day making as deep penance as ever a sinful soul has done. She passed the days in prayer, fasting, and giving alms. No one could bring her any comfort in her bitter misery. Meanwhile, when Sir Lancelot received Gawain's letter and learned that Sir Mordred had done battle with Arthur, that he had tried to wed Guenevere, he sailed at once for Britain. He landed at Dover with a mighty army, and there received the doleful news of all that had taken place. He had come too late. "Alas," said Sir Lancelot to the men of Kent, "these are the saddest tidings of my life. Lead me now to Sir Gawain's tomb." Thus he was taken to Dover Castle, and shown the tomb of his dearest friend. For 2 days and nights he lay upon the tomb, weeping and praying reverently for Sir Gawain's soul. Then on the 3rd day he summoned all his dukes and earls, barons and knights, telling them, "My fair lords, I thank all of you who have come with me, but we come too late, and that I shall repent for so long I shall live. Wait for me here while I go alone to seek my lady Guenevere, for I hear that she now lies ill. If I do not return in 15 days, take your ships and return the way we came. That is my last command." So saying, Sir Lancelot rode into the west, and there sought the queen for several days, till at last he came to a convent at Almesbury, and found Guenevere walking in a cloister. As soon as she beheld Sir Lancelot, she fainted, and was carried unconscious to the convent hall. When she woke, she told the other nuns, "You may wonder, dear sisters, why I am so ill. It is because of yonder knight who has come to seek me. It is my fault and his that this war has been fought. We have caused the deaths of the was a man or woman so hard-hearted as would not have wept to see the pain and sorrow between them, for there was lamentation, as if they had been struck by spears. Sir Lancelot rode all that day and night through a dark, dense forest, so that none should share his grief or see his tears. And he lived alone as a hermit within a chapel in the neighborhood of Glastonbury. One night, some 12 months later, there came a vision to him whereby he was summoned in remission of his sins to hasten back to Malmesbury on foot. By the time you get there, the spirit says, you will find Queen Guenevere dead. Without more ado, Lancelot hurried on foot from Glastonbury to Malmesbury, some 30 miles. He arrived within 2 days, weak and weary from his journey, and when he entered the convent, he found that Guenevere had died, but half an hour passed. The sisters told him that just before she died, she left a message for him. Tell Sir Lancelot to come as fast as he may, to fetch my corpse, and let him bury me in the chapel beside the lake where my husband Arthur was last seen on this earth. And then the nuns told Lancelot Guenevere had said so, that all might hear. I beseech Almighty God that I may not live to see Sir Lancelot again with my earthly eyes. That was her constant prayer, the sisters said, for 2 days and nights before she died. As Sir Lancelot gazed upon her face, fair in repose, he did not weep, just sighed. After a moment's silence, he ordered an open coffin to be prepared for her, and placed upon a horse-drawn carriage. Then, with 100 torches burning round her, he led the procession, singing hymns and saying prayers all the way to Salisbury. When they came to the chapel by the lake, he had her body wrapped 30 times in wax cloth from Rennes, and she was laid to rest in a lead coffin within a marble tomb. When everyone had gone, Sir Lancelot lay still upon the ground for several days, then made his way back to the hermitage, where he never after ate or drank. He pined away, and his flesh shriveled till none would recognize him. Day and night he prayed, sometimes slumbering in fitful sleep and dreaming ever that he was lying upon the tomb of Queen Guenevere. Though many came to comfort him, he seemed not to hear or see them. Within 10 days he fell into a troubled sleep, waking only to instruct Sir Bors to take his body to the castle Choice-Guard. Then he died. When they found him dead, his followers were much surprised, for rarely had they seen him so composed. Sir Lancelot, dying, had a peaceful smile upon his face. There was much weeping and mourning at Sir Lancelot's death, the greatest grief that men had felt. Sir Bors and the few remaining knights took his body to the castle Choice-Guard, where he was buried with great devotion, and upon his tomb were inscribed these words: Here lies Sir Lancelot, the bravest of all the Christian knights. Here is an end to the legends of King Arthur, Queen Guenevere, Sir Lancelot, and all the knights of the Round Table. I pray you all, gentlemen and gentlewomen, who read this book of Arthur, to heed his epilogue. In many places it is said that King Arthur is not dead, but is living still in some hidden cave, and it is said that he shall come again when Britain is in peril. I will not swear that this is so, rather would I say that he has taken on another life. But there are those who say they have seen a rock beneath the lake at Avalon, on which is written these words: Hic et Arthurus rex quondam rexque futurus. Here lies Arthur, the once and future king. And that is that. There are lots of other legends, or at least a few, that are not covered in this book, and maybe one day I'll read them. But for now, I think I'll let King Arthur either rest in Avalon under that stone, or be in whatever lair it is that he's haunting right now. I hope that everyone's enjoyed this series, and that you'll stick around. My next one, which I've actually already taped a few things for, is Danish fairy tales. This is fun. Gotta stretch to see it. Yeah, that's actually the title too. Danish fairy tales. I'm probably wait until next month to put the first set of those up. But I do actually have some stuff prepared already. I already read some stuff for it, and have it pre-taped, or whatever the proper word would be, pre-recorded. And like I said, I may also do some other stuff. But at any rate, I do thank you for sticking with me through this series. I hope it has been enjoyable, and I hope that it has been relaxing. Thank you for your time and for just listening and actually caring about these stories